Fantasy Football Show. My name is Dan Heifetz, and I am joined by Danny Kelly and Craig Horlbeck, and we are previewing all the games from Week 13, except for the Thanksgiving games, which probably have already happened by now. So we're gonna go. We are recording this on Tuesday, November 26th, because it is Thanksgiving week, and we want to do an episode, but we didn't really want to do it on Wednesday or Thursday, so we're doing it now. And the good news is we have an episode for you, and the bad news is we have done whatever just above the bare minimum of preparation is.
Less prep. We've done less prep. A little
We've
less.
done less.
You have to sell this a little differently. This is a vibes-based preview of the week. All
vibes-based preview.
We didn't do a lot of statistical analysis on this. It's all
Yeah.
vibes.
You know how sometimes you don't want to watch The Last of Us or Succession. You want to watch Selling Sunset. This is selling Love is Blind or selling. This
That's
is
what
reruns
all
of
cleavage
New
is
Girl
for.
episode. Yeah, this is just all cleavage this episode.
Yeah. Or what's the two broke girls were that ridiculous outfit of just where they just a lot of cleavage.
You're talking about that sitcom from 10 years ago with Kat Dennings?
What are you talking about? I actually never saw that.
Yeah. I watched it a little bit.
Was it good?
It was all right, yeah.
All right, anyway, want to go through the games? There's something freeing about going through the games. This is almost like our production call we're basically just going to put out where we're just what do you guys think about these games? And then we talk about them later. And
By the way, do you know who's married to Kat Dennings? Podcast throwback.
Kat Dennings? Give me a hint.
One of the biggest bands of my generation that you guys had never heard of.
I was going to say it's a musician.
I thought you were going to say Coldplay.
No.
If I've never heard
Andrew
of the band.
WK or Andrew K.
Yes,
Who's the guy who did the party hard?
No way. Him and Kat Dennings are together? That's crazy.
Well, I think
Wait, did I get that right?
Yeah. It's Andrew WK. They got
Holy
married
shit.
in 2023. I assume they're still married, but
dude, that was the best moment of my life right there.
That's crazy. That's whenever I first heard that Meghan Trainor's married to the kid from Spy Kids.
What?
Yeah.
I loved the genuine Heifetz in the wild reactions.
I think it's the weirdest celebrity couple, but maybe now
permanence.
it's Kat Dennings and Andrew WK. But
forgot about that Spy
Kids guy and Meghan Trainor. Yeah,
Spy Kids was kind of a good movie.
Totally. The thumbs,
dude. The thumbs. Those 3D glasses made me sick back in the day. But man, that was an era with the red and the blue and the glasses. Man.
Yeah,
Never
Spy Kids 3D. Floop, was that the guy's name? Or what was his name? What's the bad guy's name? Floop.
Shout out to my brother's friend Kyle, who saw Avatar in 3D. Kyle, who saw Avatar in 3D, and it was Christmas Eve, and we were together, and he was super baked, and he was trying to explain to us how important it was to see Avatar, and he was just like, "Dude, I wish life was in 3D."
Is it not?
I think about that all the time. I think every time there's a 3D movie, I'm like, "Oh, if only life was in 3D." Anyway,
that's really funny.
All right. You want to go through these games?
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving games we talked about on Wednesday. We'll start this Black Friday game, which Craig is out on. I know what you're saying, where there's the idea the Black Friday is also for your family, and then now it's actually it's if you want to buy stuff without waiting in line, then you can watch this football game. I'm that's probably not ideal, but the Raiders are at the Chiefs.
Nasty game. Nasty women, the Bene Gesserit, nasty women.
What's that from?
That's the worm, the sandworm doing Trump or whatever.
It's the funniest TikTok I've ever seen.
Really?
It's a guy being shy. It's me, your beloved sandworm, Shia Lud. The Bene Gesserit, nasty women. They call him Muad'Dib.
It is really good.
The Bene Gesserit, they're trying to wage a holy war. The best. It's actually my favorite TikTok of all time. My friends do it constantly. It's the pinnacle of you don't quote movies, you quote memes now. All we do is the Trump worm from Dune.
Email us at rigorfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Please email us your favorite TikTok of all time.
The Trump
Oh, that's
worm.
good.
Email us your favorite TikTok you've ever seen.
They call him Pesky Paul.
Hobbled Herbert, Pesky Paul.
They're calling him Lisa El Gaib. It's the best.
This show's got off to a really good start.
Anyway, I was going to say, yeah, look what happens when we don't have all these like fucking numbers prepared and all these like watching the games and stuff.
Meanwhile,
Right.
I have that TikTok literally memorized line by line.
You have been watching the tape. I want to start Raiders Chiefs. I want to start with this. Do you guys remember like when Josh McDaniels got fired last year and then all the players were smoking cigars because Antonio Pierce got the job and they were so thrilled?
Vaguely.
Antonio Pierce's record, like win-loss percentage as Raiders coach, has dropped below Josh McDaniels' win-loss percentage as Raiders coach.
Grass is not always greener.
Yeah. Antonio Pierce is just likable, I think. That's kind of the only difference. Josh McDaniels
still
sounds
a
like
bad team.
A bad hang.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. And Antonio Pierce, for all the stuff we've like rocked Gerard Mayo about this week, about Gerard Mayo being a bad coach for the Patriots, Antonio Pierce is exactly the same in-game decision maker as an overconfident former linebacker who thinks that as long as they have good field position, they will stop them, which is never correct. Having said that, the Chiefs lost to them on Christmas last year. The Chiefs only beat this Raiders team by 7 earlier this year, and the Raiders suck. And I don't know. So Gardner Minshew's shoulder like exploded on a sack
Desmond
last
Ritter's
week.
going to start this game.
Yeah, Desmond Ridder on Black Friday. Desmond Ridder, and also the offense is run by like Norv Turner now. Norv Turner wasn't even part of this team like 6 weeks ago.
The Raiders are an abomination, to borrow one
DK.
of Craig's words.
They are an abomination. DK, are you interested in potentially winning a house in this football game? This game is in Kansas City. The last time it was in Carolina. I get it. This is a 13-point spread in Kansas City. The Raiders against the Chiefs. Would you bet your house on this game?
If you win, you get another house. Even money in the house.
Ridder.
Come get this house. It's a free house for you, Jim.
Scared money don't make house.
I'm not betting my house on any NFL game. This is a divisional game. Heifetz just said it. They lost last Christmas to the Raiders
That
in
was
Kansas
Christmas.
City.
This is Thanksgiving. That was the
It's a holiday.
So you don't want, you could have 3 houses.
I'm not betting
You
my
could
house.
have 3 houses.
Wait, are you going to give me 2 houses?
No,
Well,
if you bet last
should have
time in
already
this
won
side,
a house.
you'd
know
have a
what?
house. It would be house money. You'd be
Craig,
betting with house money.
Craig, give me 2 houses. Then we'll talk.
You know what? What if I do 2 houses? Would you bet your house to win 2 houses?
I'd start thinking about it.
You'd
You'd
start thinking about it.
thinking about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Would
might
you
have to,
put your
like-
house on the line to win 2 free houses?
All the Chiefs got to do is win the game.
Just win
And
the
you
game.
get 2 more houses. You get 3 total houses.
This is the Kansas City Chiefs going up against Desmond Ridder in Arrowhead.
Patrick Mahomes versus Desmond Ridder.
I'm
you get 2 houses.
very tempted to bet my house on this one,
Do it, baby.
but I'm not going to do it.
Pink slip. You never had your car.
Man, it would be nice to have 3 houses.
Yeah, think about that. All the Chiefs have to do is win this game.
Think about the things you could do with 3 houses.
So much room for activities.
No, I'm not doing it.
Oh my God.
I refuse on principle.
So soft.
Unbelievable.
So soft.
We should have a tracker.
You
You're
must live in
terrible,
a
buddy.
warm weather state. You're so soft.
Yeah.
What if Mahomes gets hurt in the first quarter and then
Honestly,
fucking
they'd
Carson
still
Wentz
win.
is the quarterback?
Carson Wentz
still
versus
win.
Desmond Ridder sends good at even money. I mean, it's not even
Can
money.
life
It's 2
get
to 1.
better?
Isn't it funny though that like
No.
the Chiefs are going for a 3-peat, and if Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, Carson Wentz will be going for a 3-peat
It's
Super
always
Bowl
the-
in the NFL? That's
the-
crazy.
Like when you say it out loud, it's always like, what are they doing? Why are they
Dude,
doing this?
I really think
It
it's
would
like
be
another.
cool full circle if, like, Wentz got hurt, Foles came in and won a Super Bowl, Mahomes gets hurt, Wentz comes in, wins a Super Bowl. That'd be
Damn.
cool.
Now that you say it, that's actually probably the single craziest thing left on the table for the NFL season is like Carson Wentz being good on the Chiefs
Yeah.
and like winning a fucking 3-peat. Like that would be crazy.
Yep.
Wow. Anyway,
Not betting my house.
Carson Wentz is married to the girl from Spy Kids.
No,
Yeah.
she's not.
No, she's not. No, that's not true. Okay.
I
Anyway,
don't-
moving on.
I don't even know that girl's
I
Oh,
had
wait.
this-
The last thing I want to say about this game is actually that Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, as like McConkey for the Chargers and Brock Bowers and the Raiders, lead all rookies in receiving yards. And they both played together in college. I do not want Carson Beck in my life.
Yeah.
That's all.
Fair. I love
Um,
Ladd.
All right. Next game here. These are Sunday games. Chargers are at the Falcons. The Chargers are giving 1.5 points. I think this line should be way bigger than 1.5. The Falcons just got the shit kicked out of them by a good defense in Denver.
They lost to
think
the Saints
dude,
2 weeks ago.
The Chargers,
3 weeks ago.
I know that the Chargers got bodied by Baltimore. The Baltimore is like a physical ass team, and they put 2 tight ends out there, and they kind of the Chargers can't like necessarily play a good base defense. I don't think the Falcons can do that. I don't think the Falcons are anywhere near Baltimore. I think the Chargers are going to win this game, and you're going to get all the energy of Jim Harbaugh licking his wounds after getting embarrassed by his brother.
I agree. The line's already gone up. It's Chargers 2.5 now.
Oh, I should have gotten it at 1.5. That was a mistake to wait. I don't understand how they put that line out there.
It's a short week, and the Falcons are coming off a bye. Perhaps that has a little bit to do with it.
The Giants came off a bye. How'd that go for them versus Tampa Bay?
Right. They look good. I mean, it was close for a few minutes there when the game started. I think it was tied.
The first 9 plays the Bucs had before they just scored a touchdown without having a third down. That was good.
Dude, the Chargers Ravens game, the Monday night game, that game proved to me that both these teams are good. I knew the Ravens were good, but it proved to me that the Chargers deserve to be kind of in the upper class. Like, to me, that was 2 really good teams pulling out all the stops and playing really good football. I got a little out of hand late because Quentin Johnston lost his fingers.
Oh my God.
What happened there? We didn't talk about this yet.
If Quentin Johnston if it was any other receiver in the NFL, maybe the Chargers win that game.
It's a different game. Yeah.
I think that game showed to me that what happens when John Harbaugh has been the coach of the Ravens since 2008. And Jim Harbaugh's been the coach of the Chargers since January. And frankly, the Chargers still have the remnants of the Brandon Staley experience on defense where they're like, stopping the run. Who needs to do that? And so they don't have the linebackers to play base defense. They just can't do it. They have Bosa and Mack on the edges. They have the Chargers dime and nickel personnel, how much they have 6 defensive backs as much as anyone in the league. Cause that's who they have on their team. But they're just not built to they're going to be in future seasons much more prepared defensively for a team like the Ravens or even the Chiefs who are trotting out 2, sometimes 3 tight ends at a time. The Chargers aren't really built to win that way right now on defense. But Herbert's biggest problem is he's giving Quentin, it's a complimentary. Herbert's biggest problem is he trusts Quentin Johnson. It's not just that one that hit him in the hands that ended the game. He's trusting him on go routes, and you see Peyton and Eli Manning being dude, Quentin Johnson should have all these catches on these go routes. And he can't, it's what we said about Quentin Johnson coming out of the draft. He can't high point a football. That's such an ick. And I kind of looked at that at the time and was well, you can teach him to do that. I don't know if you can teach a guy to do that. I don't know how you can be in the NFL for 3 years and not or 2 years and not high point a football, but he can't do it. And if he could, if T. Higgins signs to the Chargers, T. Higgins in that game last night would have had 3 touchdowns.
I was just going to say, I think Harbaugh right after that game goes to Joe Horowitz, the GM, and is get me T. Higgins next year. That is the final piece of this offense.
Joe Ortiz, who's if DK had an evil older brother.
He does kind of look like me.
He's your Wario.
Yeah. My thought watching the Chargers is I really like how this team is built, generally speaking. I obviously love Herbert, but I do worry, especially with this Dobbins injury, because Dobbins was kind of the one guy who, even though he's not super fast, he could get them an explosive play on the ground.
Such a bummer. It was a weird tackle. It looked a little bit funky. He got bent in a weird way. And I don't believe there's been a report on how he's doing.
Yeah. If Dobbins is out, that means Gus Bus and Hassan Haskins are their top 2 running backs, I guess. Maybe Kamani Vidal is out there too, but he's not super fast either. And then offensively, in the passing game, Quentin Johnston's fast, but he just simply cannot catch the ball. I'm sorry,
dude. The mesh route, I think that's it's tough because I think Harbaugh is actually forgiving of players who mess up in tough moments, but at the same time, coaches don't forget when you lose. Never mind the fact that it's his brother. Coaches don't forget when you scheme up the perfect play call and the ball is delivered to your literally to your palms, and you just drop it. Yeah. Coaches don't forget that stuff when it's that's kind of who you were already.
Yeah, he clearly has lost all his confidence too, and that does not matter or it doesn't help things. So I don't know. The only fast guy in this offense is McConkey.
So who is that?
I definitely just called him McConkey on accident.
Lad McConkey.
McConkey. He's the only fast guy in this offense. Quentin Johnston's fast, but it doesn't matter. Josh Palmer's a possession receiver type guy. He's good. He had some really big catches in this game, by the way.
Palmer's good.
Can I tell you guys something?
And Will Dissly's slow as hell, but he's reliable, but he's slow.
Dynasty fantasy football, if you just had a player on your team for the rest of the career, I would take Lad McConkey over Garrett Wilson tomorrow. Or today, rather. I would literally, I think Lad McConkey will have a better NFL career than Garrett Wilson. Straight
It's
up.
also just a much more stable environment.
Yes. I think, and he's also
the quarterback situation alone, I think that's actually a fair assessment. But I don't know if I would do that, but yeah.
I have no issue with it. Ladd McConkey's going to be a star.
McConkey's great, but I do worry overall. Like I do worry about the team speed on offense and what that's going to look like.
I don't think the Chargers are a top tier team this year. I think they will be immediately as soon as next year for the next 5 years because Herbert's amazing. Craig, the Steelers are playing the Bengals this week, and the Bengals are approaching mathematical elimination if they lose. Seems like the Steelers should win. I feel like the Steelers are going to lose, right? This seems like a classic Steelers letdown game.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty pessimistic about the Steelers, and that's kind of annoying as a fan of them. But I don't know, man. I do think this team is just a wild card team with a record that's a little bit too good for what they actually are. Their defense is playing great, but like, I don't know, if you actually just go back to the Steelers schedule this year, it's like, all right, their best wins are Falcons week 1 when Kirk Cousins could barely move. They beat Denver week 2, second game of Bo Nix's career. They beat the Ravens when Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals. And then they beat Washington, which looks a little different now than it did. And they've lost to the Colts, the Cowboys, and the Browns. I still think that the Steelers are just like a 10-7 team.
Oh my God. I just figured out what the Steelers are. They're a UFC fighter who wins on the ground. They're like George St. Pierre. Like they're like the guys who like are like the greatest wrestler in the history of like the University of Iowa. And they're like undefeated and they're like 150-0 in college. And then they come into UFC and they don't stand up and fight. And they don't even do cool like judo takedowns, and they don't do cool jujitsu stuff. They just kind of take the guy down and lie on top of him for like 3 rounds, and then they get the win.
Yeah,
and it's ugly. It's close. It's never that exciting, and they don't really lose that much. And you kind of watch that, and you're like, did I even enjoy that? I don't know. Kind of stressful, but they win all the time, and it's never cool.
That's a great comparison. UFC is completely out of my wheelhouse, but that sounds exactly right. The only thing the Steelers have that's different from other Steelers teams is there is a little bit of like the Russ luck thing, or like the magical Russ thing. Like that, I don't want to completely count that out because the Russ to Pickens in the fourth quarter, like I do think there's something there, but in general, I don't have faith in this team like to go far in the playoffs.
That is an element they've been missing since Roethlisberger left, because Russ adds that they have not had that dimension of like, you know, no offense to Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges, but like literally, I mean, I've been at Steelers games on Christmas Eve the last couple of years, like where it's like the only thing that happens is when George Pickens breaks a slant and runs it up, but there's not so much chuck it. Like when Mason Rudolph chucked the ball downfield to Pickens, it felt like a prayer
100%,
or a wish.
Yeah.
And with Russ, it does feel like a plan. Like you actually kind of think it's going to work.
That's always been a hallmark of Russell's game, is like when he like comes off a play action and launches a ball, like almost immediately, I'm always like, yeah, that's a huge play.
Yeah.
And like more often than not, it is. It feels like I don't know what the stats are, but like 100%, like he's so accurate. He can drop it in a bucket. Pickens is really good in those contested catch situations. He always comes up with it, it seems like. But yeah, when Wilson lets it go, I'm like, ooh, that's where you like sit up in your chair.
On paper, Pittsburgh wins this game in every facet because, I mean, the Bengals' offensive line's messed up and they have, you know, TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, and they should be able to dominate them there. The Bengals are not going to be able to run. So you would think that the Steelers could stop Burrow and this offense because the Bengals are going to be such a one-dimensional thing. I don't think one dimension works versus Pittsburgh's defense. And then on the flip side, like, I don't think the Steelers are going to be, the Bengals are going to be able to stop the Pittsburgh run. So in theory, the Steelers should win, but in theory, when the Steelers are supposed to win, it's always close. So
Vegas agrees with you. Cincinnati's favorite. I mean, when's the last time?
I don't understand that.
When is the last time a 4-7 team was favored over an 8-3 team and there's no injuries involved?
Yeah, no, without injuries, that's actually a really good call. I bet. It's almost probably always like when a quarterback comes back. That's a good. All right, let's bet the Steelers. Fuck it, they're underdogs. Tomlin's gonna have that in front of them.
10 days rest,
or Costanza just take the Bengals, give him the points. Also, that's why we've been hesitating about Costanza. It's because we haven't been talking about points. Costanza is when you see a team with the points and you're like, I don't understand this line. That's a true Costanza is what I just did. The Steelers with the points is totally the move. That Costanza is you take Cincinnati. That's the Costanza. Anyway, Texans are at the Jaguars this week. Dude, the Jags suck. I'm kind of tired of talking about this fucking team.
I mean, this is the another get right spot for Stroud and the Texans offense.
No, it is though. Never. It is though. The Jaguars have had the worst. Like if you just look, even bad players are crushing it against Jacksonville.
All right. What do you guys think of the fact that it looks like Trevor Lawrence is going to come back here? Do you think that's like kind of dumb? Like he should just not come back with an injured shoulder?
That's a really good question, DK. And I think the answer is if they were a more competent organization with more long-term leadership. The problem is that Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke, the GM, are kind of coaching, fighting for their lives out here. Fight for my life out here.
I mean, he's going to be competitive and want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence wants to play. And if they were smart, they'd be like, you know what, Trevor, you have a shoulder injury. Why don't you go
just signed you to this
tight,
massive deal. Yeah.
But they need Trevor Lawrence to play to save their jobs. Or at least I don't even know if Peterson can save his job, but Baalke
do you think,
does.
Is it almost a little bit of a Costanza here? It's to like just take the Texans to win by like 20 because they haven't done that all season. Like, should we just bet big on the Texans?
Dude, here's the thing. It's Thanksgiving. It's getting cold. Is this game technically going to be in December? Like, dude, teams where everyone knows the coach is getting fired, like the defenses give out first. People stop trying on defense. This team traded their left tackle like a month ago. Like, this season's so over.
So you don't like betting the Texans big? Oh, okay.
No, I think, the alt line on the Texans is not a bad call here. Like, this Texans plus, like, Texans giving like 15 is not a bad idea. Because the Texans want to blow people out, too. They were trying to do that to Dallas. Like, they want to run up the score, I think, if they can.
I love just, like, hating Stroud for 12 straight weeks, and then I head into week 15, and I'm like, I'm going to bet them to win by 15.
Can the people for Thanksgiving weekend get a little Craig Gus Johnson?
Stroud drops back. Escapes the pocket. Sees Tank down deep. And he overthrows it.
Dude, Gus was on that Ohio State-Indiana game, and he was like, muffed. And I was like, there's the guff item. There's a sign of life from Gus.
Neek touchdown, Nico Collins.
Oh, never gets old.
All right, the Cardinals are at the Vikings this week. Vikings are giving 4 points.
This is a good defensive matchup, don't you think? Yeah. I kind of like Arizona in this game. I feel like one of the secret stories of the year in the NFL has been coaching on the defensive side, not on the offensive side. I think there has been so much buzz in the last however many years about all these like wonderkin offensive play callers. There's, like this Shanahan, LaFleur, McVay tree, all that stuff. But there's a lot of defensive guys cooking right now. And Shane Steichen, the head coach, Jonathan Gannon, the other guy from the Eagles, who's coaching the Cardinals, is definitely one of them. The Cardinals have been amazing. The last 4 weeks, they're giving up the least points in the league over the last month. 10 points a game. And those were against
crazy.
It's actually the last 5 weeks they've given up 10 points a game. And that is against Seahawks, Jets, Bears, Dolphins, Chargers. Like, those are solid teams. They weren't doing this against the Panthers and the Raiders and stuff like that. This team has been really, really good defensively. And if you continue it out, like, Flores on Minnesota is one of the stories of the year defensively. Mike McDonald on Seattle is kind of hitting his stride. What Vic Fangio is doing with Philly in his first year with them is a big story. So it's just kind of interesting to see this year that I think other than like Ben Johnson, who is obviously this like super genius offensively, he's going to get a head coaching job, whatever. I do think the story this year on the coaching side has been on the defensive side of the ball.
This is not a take, but it's an intrusive thought I've had multiple times. And I don't know if we have a word for what's in between that. All the I'm so impressed with Jonathan Gannon as the head coach of the Cardinals. And if you notice, all the coaches that we make fun of a lot entering their first season are incredible at their job.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell, all we did was mock him for the kneecaps and the biting. Dude, the players love this guy more than anyone. And you rewatch that and you're like, damn, he's been himself the whole time. I don't know if I made fun of anyone more than Jonathan Gannon. Like, Jonathan
Gannon was like the most awkward person I've ever seen.
Real life Kendall Roy.
Yeah, the win probability charts where it's like you had a 99% chance of losing and then you win the game. Like the vibes probability chart of after he did the pew, pew, pew.
Pew, 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 pew.
With Rondell Moore.
1% shot of being cool and his team liking him. And
Falcons,
he pulled it off.
And dude, the Cardinals, you know what? They're not even good on defense. Like, I don't really understand how they're trotting out a defense like this, like a secondary. And they're just trying really hard for this guy. And you know who else we made fun of a lot? Nick Sirianni, because he said, I like competitiveness. I don't know if you guys remember this. He said, I like to play rock, paper, scissors in the combine interviews. They have 15 minutes. He would play rock, paper, scissors with the guys and see how mad they were when they would lose. And I will say, as much as Sirianni's a jabroni, I didn't think that guy was going to take him to the Super Bowl like a year later. Like, they almost won the Super Bowl with Nick Sirianni. I'm just saying, there's something here where we make fun of a coach. We should pause and bet on that team to like win the division.
Yeah, it's a good call. Another guy we should shout out is the Chargers defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter. He's been awesome too.
Who was the super weird? I'm blanking on his name. Super weird coach for the Jets that was like Peyton Manning's OC, and he
Adam Gase.
Yeah.
Yeah,
his
that was
eyes?
tough. No, that one. The New York ones, of course.
that
Ben
one went
McAdoo
about
wore a suit that didn't
that
fit.
one went exactly as expected.
Yeah, and Ben McAdoo wore a suit that didn't fit.
With the eyes.
Yeah, the eyes was dude.
Oh
That's who Chris Johnson hired. That's what I call him, Fredo of the Johnson family. It's because he hired Adam Gase. Adam Gase, who don't forget, was the one who like walked out of his wife's C-section to go back to work on a Tuesday.
You good? You good?
Football
You
guy.
good?
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want to cut this? Do you want to cut the umbilical cord? He's like, I'm good. I'm out. Anyway, that's a real story, by the way. Yeah, Cardinals are playing well for Jonathan Gannon. Sorry I made fun of you, John. Pew pew. Colts are at the Patriots this week, dude. This one makes me feel old. Remember when this was the greatest thing the God ever done to football was Colts Patriots, and now it's. Yeah. I mean, I guess Drake May, Anthony Richardson's pretty cool, but man.
Yeah, it could be. This could be like the first, like a little preview of what could be a really good quarterback matchup for years to come. Hopefully,
Phoenix tears. This is like the ashes.
Yeah,
this is like something stirring in the burnt ashes of the.
This is
Phoenix.
the cool in theory game,
right?
And then you
cool
watch
in
it,
theory,
and,
it's going to be
no.
like 7 field goals.
Yeah, there's going to be like 4 turnovers between the two of them.
Like 5 missed bombs down the field that could have been touchdowns.
Gerard Mayo punting on 4th and 1 from the 30-yard line. Yeah. What do you think? Wait, we didn't talk about this. So you know how like John Harbaugh, they had 4th and 1 at the 2-minute warning of the first half.
Yeah.
At the 16-yard line.
That was ballsy.
That was the most I'm playing my brother decision I've ever seen. That was like only done in video games to that point. And
and they came up to the line, they tried to get him off sides, called a timeout, came back, and then ran a play.
Do you think it was because the Chargers celebrated so much for not jumping on 4th down the first time? They were like, these motherfuckers, let's go show them what's up.
No, it's Jim Harbaugh had never had a lead against John Harbaugh before. And I really think that was it. Dude, that was the deepest 4th down conversion in a game, like closest to your own end zone in over 10 years. And like even that one was before that was like a fake punt. Like no one's ever just run a play from that deep in years. And anyway, what do you think Gerard Mayo thought when he saw that?
What did he think, DK?
He did the Heifetz thing. He was aghast at the tattoos on the face. He's like,
what's funny is like if it wasn't the Ravens that did that, if another coach did that, we'd be killing.
We'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
So, I really think it's like, it's his brother. He gets a pass. He's mad.
They got it. So who cares? This is my whole theory. Like a third long draw play is awesome when it works, and otherwise it sucks.
Yeah.
And a 4th and 1 to go for 4th and 1 on your own 16-yard line is so awesome if it works.
The Lions are the only team.
Stupid as hell if it doesn't work.
The Lions are the only team that can like run the ball with a straight face on 3rd and 8. And I'm like, that's a good call.
All right. Seahawks are at the Jets this week. DK, how upset will you be if Aaron Rodgers beats the Seahawks?
I think it doesn't really have anything to do with Aaron Rodgers. Just be like, I would be so mad at myself for letting myself have hope that the Seahawks are good. If they come
first place Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. If they come in and lose this game to the Jets, who are just like in a tailspin right now.
I don't know why, but this feels like a game the Jets win.
I know. And that's what makes me worried about it. Yeah, I'm worried. This is at the Jets. The Seahawks have to go across the country. I don't think it's like as big of a deal for them lately to have to do the cross country flight and all that. Like back in the day, that used to be a huge gripe for Seahawks fans because they have to like do all these 10 a.m. starts after flying all the way across the country. I think they've adapted a little bit more and are a little bit better at it these days, but not the best situation. I've gone back and forth all year. I think Geno Smith is a really good quarterback, but like he has these momentary blips of like he loses his mind and like makes these terrible picks at the worst possible moment. Last week it was like the Seahawks were driving to put the game away. You know, they had a chance to just, even if they kicked a field goal, they're going to make it like a really tough spot for the Cardinals, and he throws a pick in the end zone. You know what I mean? And like the game, he kept it to be a game instead of just putting the game away. And like that's like the worst thing you can do as a quarterback in that situation. So he has like all these plays this year where I'm like frustrated, but also when you look at some of the things he's done this year, I'm like, he's having an incredible season. Here's some stats for Geno Smith for you. Number one in the NFL in passing yards per game, 275 passing yards per game, 25 completions per game. That's also first. He's PFF's number 6 ranked quarterback in passing grade. He's 5th in big time throws, according to PFF. He's 11th in success rate. And if you look at his like basic stats, 12 touchdowns, 12 picks. Like that to me is like, oh, he's having a terrible season. But if you look at all the underlying numbers and all the tape guys love him because of like what he does with so little. He's under pressure all the time. The Seahawks run game is maybe the worst in the NFL. He's pressured at the third highest rate in the NFL. The offensive line has been a mess. And I think the OC, Ryan Grubb, is still kind of getting his feet under him. I think there's some people that are starting to lose a little bit of hope in him right now. And I mean, despite those 12 picks, like Gino, his turnover worthy play rate, according to PFF, is 2.4%, which is 11th in the NFL. So it's just like all the bad plays he makes those are the only bad throws he's made. And like, they've just caught all of them, like really unluckily. And so I don't know, like I think he's having such a weird year where I think he's having like an elite season, but also the numbers look pretty bad.
It's weird that for a team that is 7-5 and first in the division, they're going up against a 3-win team. They're only a 1.5 favorite.
Yeah.
Seattle's line sucks. Actually, the line for both these teams is pretty tough, but I think Seattle just needs to invest in the offensive line, like big time.
Yeah, that's the prevailing thought, I think, in Seahawks land. Is like, dude, just get an offensive line for the love of God.
Yes.
Like, we haven't had a good offensive line in the whole John Schneider era, which is now like in his 14th year.
No greater luxury than having a great offensive line.
Oh my God.
Like,
think about all
insane.
look at all the best teams in the NFL.
Yes.
Usually
it's not an
like
accident.
the Lions, we give all this credit to their skill players, and of course we should. But like they're the heart of their team, the beating heart of their team is the offensive line.
I mean, speaking of which, I mean, the Eagles are playing the Ravens this week. This is the game of the year,
Eagles.
which, if I had, if we weren't recording Tuesday, I probably would have remembered to do this at the top of the goddamn show. But like, this is genuinely like a Super Bowl preview. Like, or maybe like these teams, they have a lot in common, but key differences. Like, I think Lamar Jackson is a significantly better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. And I guess that's not really a hot take, but I mean, the Ravens offense is on pace for the most yards per play ever, which is insane. They're averaging 7 yards a play, which when you say it out loud is pretty insane. But I think the Eagles have a much better defense. I think the Eagles have better players on defense. And then with Vic Fangio, like the Eagles have better, I think Zach Orr is the coordinator for the Ravens. I think he's done kind of a poor job this year, to be totally honest. I don't think he has great pieces to work with. There was a huge brain drain there in Baltimore. They lost a lot of players, but you can see it on defense. Eagles, the
Ravens have better coaching overall, though.
That's the thing. It's like they're like mirror images of each other in some ways, where it's like some things are like the offensive lines are strong. I mean, the Saquon, Derrick Henry, like Jalen Hurts and Saquon, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, like they have a lot in common. But the flip side is the Eagles defense to me looks like, oh yeah, Georgia in 2021, whatever year that Georgia team was, had the best college defense ever. And then the Eagles took half of it. And those guys have been in the league now for a couple of years, and they're all good. Jalen Carter is one of the 5 best defensive tackles in the entire league, and all he does is disrupt, and he's a crazy good player. I know he's not perfect, but on the field, but like there's still like polish to his game, but the impact he has is crazy with the interior disruption. And then Quinyon Mitchell is fantastic. I know he had to give up a couple plays to DeMarcus Robinson this week, but like I thought Quinyon Mitchell's great. I know who is it? Did Gene who and Darius Slay's getting the shit kicked out of him. But I don't know. That's what I just hate the Eagles because they're just deep. I feel like the Eagles just have more draft picks than everyone, and it's because they do. Like they just trade and they collect draft picks, and then you look at the Eagles and you're like, do they get twice as many picks as everybody? Why are they so deep at all these spots? And it's because they make more picks than everyone. It's infuriating.
I don't know if it's just the vibes from last year are hard to shake off, but it does kind of, it's starting to feel like once again, the Eagles just have the best roster in the NFL.
Well, it's just crazy because you look at Jalen Hurts and it's like, I don't know, they have Saquon and their offensive line is just built diff. Like they're just a built different offensive line. And I guess that's really where they get the value. Like, they took risks, right? Like Jordan Mailata was like a project. He had never played football until he was like 19 years old. And so it's infuriating that like they have all these players who are good.
I always feel this way, and I think a lot of fans of other teams get mad at the media for like glazing, for lack of a better word, glazing Howie Roseman all the time about like all the moves he does. But it's like to me, the process is how you should do it. You know what I mean? Like his process is really sound, from the way that he prioritizes defensive line and offensive line, the way that he kind of like approaches the backup quarterback position. It's important. He takes these guys with a lot of high potential and they try and develop them. Like Mekhi Becton, who flamed out in New York, is now like, I just watched this replay Brandon Thorne was posting it of like Mekhi Becton just like absolutely uprooting and tossing Rams defenders in this last game. Like, I don't know. I just think it's like, it's the way that you want a GM to like run his team and build his roster. They went and get Jahan Dotson for nothing. He's not really done anything.
They gave him a third for a fourth for him. It was pretty
well, but I mean, this is like a former first round player. Like in on paper, you're taking the discount on these guys that haven't really worked out in the first place, bringing them in and sometimes it doesn't work out, but I think like the process is right. Milton Williams. Yeah, Milton Williams has been like really good this year. Like they just like are really good at sort of like developing and like the Barkley thing is a perfect example. They bought the dip on the running back position at large.
Yeah, that's infuriating. Dude, Zach Bond is signed for a 1-year deal for $1.5 million. He's probably going to be on an all-pro team this year. And that's a guy who was like hand in the dirt, like edge rusher when he was in college at Wisconsin, and now he is just like one of the better inside linebackers in the season. Like, it's just, I don't know. So they do take risks, which annoys me because the Eagles are so well run. I fucking hate them. Whatever.
I mean, it's like they had Devontae Smith first, right? And then they traded for AJ Brown. Is that the order that it went? I can't remember.
They traded for AJ Brown in 2022, and then they drafted Devontae Smith in 2021 because that was after Micah Parsons. It was like Micah Parsons, Devontae Smith, and then the Giants
like getting AJ Brown
back
for
to take Kadarius Toney.
Getting AJ Brown for like a mid first round pick feels like the biggest bargain.
The Giants literally could have had
history.
AJ Brown, and they like not AJ Brown, but the Giants literally were like telegraphed so hard they wanted Devontae Smith that the Eagles jumped them, and then the Giants got Kadarius Toney.
Also, doesn't it feel like with the Eagles, like if things aren't going well, Nick Sirianni hurts the team like 3 times more than any other coach. But if things are going well, it's like Nick Sirianni almost like helps the team more than I feel like when like people start getting behind him, he can like control the vibes when things are going well enough to like actually turn the team back into what they were 2 years ago. But when things are going terribly, it just like snowballs into a catastrophe.
He's
right now,
like kind of loose cannon friend at the like out at the bars who's like really fun, but then sometimes we'll like push it a little too far.
Sometimes it's like the best night ever, and you need that guy. And then most of the time, it's like it's a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
But if everything clicks, this guy's like the most fun time in the frat house.
He's cousin from the Bear.
Yeah.
I could see Nick Sirianni singing Taylor Swift on a drive home after a win.
God,
who's going to win this game
every time? I actually kind of think the Eagles are going to win. You know what? Here's my thing with the Ravens. You said at the beginning of this, DK, that the Ravens are better coached. Can I tell you something? I actually think John Harbaugh has escaped an incredible amount of criticism this year. Like there are teams that have like the Ravens lead the league in penalties and penalty yardage. And they had another 9 last night for like 85 yards. There are times where that's a strategy. The Legion of Boom Seahawks led the league in flags because they were setting a tone,
pushing the
physicality that they knew the refs would not hold up to for the whole game. The Ravens just make a lot of mistakes and are a really sloppy team. Like the Ravens, there's no rhyme or reason to the flags the Ravens get. They're just kind of like a little unprepared everywhere. And Belichick called this illegal formation. Like last night, Derrick Henry scored a touchdown and they had an illegal formation and got called back. And Belichick called the illegal formation 3 seconds before the play was snapped. And he's like,
what was the offensive lineman was lined up too far back? I can't remember.
Yes. Yeah, that one. But that's the thing. Belichick noticed it immediately and on the Manning cast. And he's like, this is who the Ravens are. Derrick Henry in for the end zone, called back, illegal formation. Now they're back at their own 15. And then he's like, watch, Lamar's going to have to bail him out. And then Lamar bails him out on the next play.
The run
and it's
right
like he just does magic. And he's like, Lamar bails him out of so many mistakes. But Belichick's right. Like, I don't know. So all that's to say, I don't know if you can give the Eagles 85 yards of penalty yardage because the Eagles can actually match you physically in a way the Chargers cannot match you physically yet. So I think the Eagles are going to win. Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just like the way that Lamar is playing right now. It's
unbelievable.
Dude, okay, so there was that play, obviously, where he ran the ball in for the touchdown, where he just let the defender run by like he did in high school.
Yeah.
But like the play, I can't remember the exact specifics of it, but like there was a free rusher at him at one point in the game, and he just goes, whoop, and like kind of just like let the guy go by him. Like you get a free rusher in your face, and all he had to do, he did not panic whatsoever. It was like just running around at the schoolyard.
Can I tell you something though?
And he just like avoided the free rusher and then made like a big completion.
That was an amazing play. I will say, though, Lamar also very easily could have had 3 interceptions last night. Like, Christian Fulton just dropped an interception. The touchdown he threw to Rashad Bateman, low-key, like, could have been intercepted if the guy just turned around. And then...
Yeah, but how many plays are like that, though?
You know what's crazy is have you Lamar's only thrown 3 interceptions this year. Have you watched what those 3 interceptions were? Have you seen those plays?
Oh, they're all just bouncing off
tips.
Different people's hands. They're all just like
all
Rashad
like
Bateman
passes.
in the face into a guy's arms.
So it's like he really should have 0, but yeah.
It all evens out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think all right. So I'm taking the Eagles. DK, you taking the Ravens?
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, by the way, he's tied for first in the NFL in turnover worthy throw rate. So he's doing fine.
Well, is that updated with last night? We'll see.
Yeah.
Craig, you making a pick here?
I'll go with Philly.
Yeah. All right. Bucks Panthers, the other game of the year. Bryce Young is back.
Dude. His all-22 is erotic. Like, legitimately looks great. If somebody was just like, this is the best quarterback in the league, let me show you his tape from this game, you'd be like, yeah.
Like, legitimately, this was the first time, and I mentioned this to you guys because we were passing around somebody did a cut-up of all, like, his best throws in this game, and they were legit super impressive throws. And for the first time, I feel like since he became a pro, since he came into the league, I was like, oh, okay, that's why so many people had him as the first quarterback. That's why I personally had him as like the number 2 player on my big board. It's because of plays like that. He's just a natural ball player. And he's like playing with
what do you think changed?
I don't know. Like, he's just playing without fear now or something. Like, he's not thinking about it. He's
got his mojo back.
What's dead can't be, what is dead cannot die. What's the expression? Sorry, from Game of Thrones.
What is dead may never die.
May never die. Yeah.
The pressure's off in a way that it wasn't earlier in his career.
It's like he's like playing more free and he has confidence now. It's like confidence is such a big deal.
He's a joyous player. Like in Alabama, like the first thing that stuck out to me was how much he smiled because he overtook Jalen Hurts, who's like an expressionless, emotionless person. And it was jarring to then see Bryce Young, where Bryce Young is like he's smiling, laughing. And Bryce Young looked shot like the last year and a half. Like he looked like the least fun version of himself. And he's smiling again. He's laughing again, which like, it's not bullshit. That stuff matters. Also, I haven't wanted to bring this up, but now it's in the New York Post. So I don't mind mentioning it. It's on page 6 of the New York Post. So I feel like we can talk about this now. Is that Bryce Young's, I'm going to read from this page 6. Sixers guard Tyrese Maxey appears to be dating Mira Gordon, who was previously linked to Panthers quarterback Bryce Young. And then, yada, yada. The NBA All-Star and Gordon, a former Alabama basketball player, were on the scoreboard at the Eagles-Falcons games Monday Night Football at Lincoln Financial Field on September 16th. Yada, yada, yada. Bryce Young and Gordon dated when he was the quarterback at Alabama and was named the 2021 Heisman Trophy winner. Last August, the number 1 pick in Gordon was seen walking to Panthers practice field during camp in 2023. So they were together in August. We don't know when they broke up. All I'm saying is that, you know what? The last 2 years are the worst years of Bryce Young's life. The last 14 months specifically. He went from this powerhouse high school program to being great at Alabama, and he won the Heisman Trophy, and then he went to the Panthers, and the Panthers suck, and he was awful, and his girlfriend dumped him, and he's dating someone on the Sixers now, and that's an awful life, and you're 22, and that probably affected your goddamn confidence, and he has it back now.
We're all these people are human beings.
Yeah.
I think we kind of forget about that sometimes.
It's hard enough to have your partner leave you for somebody cooler than you, not in the public eye. Having somebody do that publicly has got to be one of the harder things to get over, personally.
100%.
How tall is he? Imagine how tall he is. He's in the NBA.
He's not that big, but but he's bigger than Bryce Young.
Bigger than yeah. How tall is he?
Because Bryce Young is
6'3", maybe 6'2". Yeah,
5'10".
6'2".
Yeah.
But that's
huge. That's huge
genuinely, he's 22 years old. Like, that probably would affect you. I think that the most underrated part of all these kids' lives is that like they're the best at, like, for the most part. If you're in the first round, it's what you always say, DK. Anyone you've ever seen on television playing a sport is the best person in the history of where they're from. Yeah, and they always have been.
Yeah. Luke Rittenauer.
They're like a fucking legend where they grew up.
The local Luke Rittenauer is like the amount of people who were talking to us about like Sam Decker in high school was like Jesus incarnate playing basketball. It was like literally people talk about him like with the clarity people don't remember their weddings as well as the emails we got about remembering watching Sam Decker play basketball. Random people.
Luke Ridnour won State Player of the Year when he was a sophomore, and he had a broken right hand. He just played with his left hand the whole time.
That's unbelievable.
I was like, this guy is going to be the next fucking John Stockton. He was like a very average NBA player.
Did you guys know that Sean McVay won Player of the Year in the state of Georgia over Calvin Johnson?
Is that true
oh my
or not?
God,
I think that's
that
apocryphal. I think that's just something people repeat. I refuse to believe that's true.
I believe it. McVay,
Georgia State Player of the Year.
I feel like Calvin Johnson, out of the kindness of his heart, has let that live on.
What do you mean? Why would he do that?
I forget the. I don't know.
So McVay totaled 2,600 yards rushing, 40 touchdowns during his career. He led his team to a 26-3 record, state championship his senior year. He was named Georgia 4A Offensive Player of the Year over Calvin Johnson. That's real. Holy shit.
Unbelievable.
That is wild.
But yeah, all that's to say, just like the first time these guys are like, do I suck at football? Is like when they're in the NFL.
Yeah,
I know.
Like they've never had to question that before.
He was the first pick of the draft.
Dude, they're all Zoolander looking in the puddle like, who am I?
Yeah.
I've only seen great things. Like it's, get dumped. Yeah. All right. So Sean McVay is better than Calvin Johnson. Rams are playing the Saints. Speaking of Sean McVay, in terms of coaching, hard to get like a bigger coaching imbalance than Sean McVay versus the Rizzler for New Orleans.
Is it though?
Well,
or is
if he
it
clogs
so
the toilet.
sane?
Depends if he clogs the toilet. Rizzler's unstoppable if you clog the toilet.
The clogger?
The clogger.
That's what Bill and Sal call him.
The Saints are undefeated since the Rizzler came about.
Spread is only 2.5. It's lower than you think it is.
I mean,
this is a Vegas what do you know game.
It is a Vegas what do you know game. The thought of betting on the Rizzler over McVay is crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, Derek Carr and no receivers versus Matt Stafford, Puka, Cooper Kupp, and McVay coming off a loss in a dome. I'm like,
has this line
2.5 points?
How dare you say that about Taysom Hill? No receivers.
Well, he's not a receiver, DK.
Well, that's true. But he is kind of.
Yeah. I don't know what he is.
He's a football player.
He should be just designated as a flex in the NFL.
He's an end.
And in fantasy. An end, yeah.
He's this generation's
The line is still
Spots.
2.5. That's
like,
crazy.
what's up
it's
with
3
that?
now. It's 3. No,
okay.
It's 3 now.
Still, 2.5 would have been nuts. 3 makes a little more sense, but
does Vegas like Carr a lot? I feel like we kind of hate on Carr, but like maybe like
you think the city of Vegas probably hates Derek Carr.
Well, that's the fans.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
anyone who's been around Derek Carr except his brother, not a fan.
I feel like we underrate Derek Carr. Is
this Costanza?
Yes, I underrate him. Yeah, of course. Is that not clear?
I still maintain that he throws one of the best deep balls.
I vehemently underrate him.
Derek Carr, when there's nobody who might hit him, is like one of the best quarterbacks ever.
Yeah, he turns into Dan Marino when he's got a clean pocket.
Yeah. And then he throws the ball out of bounds.
We're taking the Saints, right? Costanza.
Yeah.
I gotta see. I got an inside guy at the Superdome who's gonna tell me if the Rizzler clogs the toilet.
We gotta talk to the people, the food prep people for the Saints, and figure out what they're feeding him.
Yeah, what are they
the night
feeding
before?
Them? Yeah,
are they eating?
It's like Austin Powers. What did you eat?
You tell that turd who's boss.
Do you think it's
number 2 work for?
Do you think it's a food quality
issue? We should make a video of that with the Rizzler. Oh my god. Who does number 2 work for?
Do you think it's a food quality issue, or do you think he just has the nervous poops?
I think it's nervous poops. Dude, he's special teams coach.
I feel like
running the Saints one day.
Honest question. Do you think a nervous poop could clog a toilet?
Clearly it can.
I feel like a nervous poop is like you got to force one out even though you don't really have to poop.
But I think the nervousness.
And therefore it's not going to be as big. You know?
I don't think the poop clogged it. The nervous poop, you're nervous. But then you're wiping, but
you have to cut short, wipe deep, and then
it's the other way around. He used too much toilet paper because he's got anxiety, so he's just thinking and mindlessly wiping, and he used more toilet paper than he needed. That's what clogged it because he's thinking about coaching the Saints.
If it's a messy cleanup on aisle 2, you can really clog a toilet. I think in general, I've always been shocked when people say they like. Again, I have a friend who can clog a toilet just with his own
with his mind.
matter that he's creating.
That's a toilet problem. Toilets are
Like,
designed to handle that. That's
to me,
his toilet's bad.
Clogging is always a toilet paper problem.
Yes. If your friend
Not
is
always.
saying that, then his toilet's not good enough.
Well,
DK, have you
not
clogged
my
the toilet
experience.
just based on
No.
what you're producing out of your own body?
not me, but I know it's been done.
College
that's
house?
But I
crazy
thought
to
also,
me.
but like we were talking about this like a couple episodes ago, a couple weeks ago. You're like, it has to be a natural clog. It has to be the shit, not the paper, or else it's fake.
No, the
Remember that?
paper is the clog.
You can't overuse paper.
The paper
purposely.
is the clog, Jerry.
Yeah, the paper is the clog. I don't understand this. No, I think it's I feel confident that he was just like, there are people, the coaches are people too. This motherfucker was a special teams coach, and they're like, "You're in charge, Rizzler." And he's like, "Oh my God, I am in charge." Like he's a person who's just in charge
like
of an NFL
someone's
team one
nightmare.
day.
Wait, what? I'm in charge?
Why
I'm
hasn't he
NFL team?
gotten the Rizzler on the sideline with him? Come on.
Dude, that's the
No-brainer.
Rizzler should be the get back guy.
No brainer.
That's so easy. Dude, why
Get him
we
out-
should
get
work
him
for a
out there.
team.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Can I admit something? I don't really know what the fuck the Rizzler is. I
You
don't know
could
who
skip
that-
it. This is the
Okay.
new FOMO. It's JOMO. It's the joy of missing out.
I don't know the Rizzler backstory. I don't even
See
know
if
who
you
the
can
Rizzler
outlast
is.
it. I
So
wish
just
I
like a
didn't
little
know.
kid.
Don't worry.
Yeah, he's a little kid with Riz.
Okay.
Yeah, that. Wow, that really is it, isn't it? That's, I. Damn.
It's actually getting
That's
so
all.
bad how
He's a little
ubiquitous he's
kid with
becoming.
Riz.
Like they're putting his ass everywhere. Like he's on Fallon, just like doing this
Dude,
over
he
and
did
over.
WWE. He was like,
Yeah.
he fought. They won a title at the WWE match. Or AEW, whatever. Here's my thing. I think the problem is every 12-year-old wants to be as famous as the Rizzler, right? But when the
guess.
Rizzler's 25, isn't all he going to want in the world to not be the Rizzler?
Yes.
There's a whole world of like young internet viral fame 10 years later that is one of like the most under-discussed parts of young like virality on the internet. Like Rebecca Black has actually come out okay on the other side despite the fact that she got destroyed for like 2 straight
America
years for
hates
making
you, 13-year-old girl or a bat
Yeah.
mitzvah. Fuck you.
Remember the I Like
Awful.
Turtles kid? Like that was like the first stage of it. But now these people are like really famous, like Baby Gronk.
Dude,
Baby Gronk in 10
no, that
years?
situation's messed up. Baby Gronk's dad is out of control. Like that
Totally.
one's sad. You got a
Yeah.
12-year-old kid.
You think the
grilled.
Rizzler's parents are being responsible right now?
The Rizzler's taking PJs all over the country to make TV appearances.
It is actually insane, but like, yeah, that kid's not going to want to be the Rizzler. I think all the time
Austin
about
says Baby Gronk challenged the Rizzler to a fight. Is that true?
dude. Yeah, that's you know what that
Probably,
was.
dude.
That was kind of like when who was
That's
the
hate this
rapper?
country
that is
sometimes.
brain rot.
Dude, that is brain rot. Who is? I actually mentioned that on the show the
Rizzler.
other day. You guys kind of went past that one, but who was the rapper? Was it? Oh, it's Cranked Soulja Boy went on that. Was it Sway in the Morning and was like talking shit about Drake? That's like the gap in Baby Gronk is so yesterday. I mean, Livy got rizzed up by Paul Skeen, so like Baby Gronk's out of the picture now.
Hate that sentence. Yeah.
But anyway, I think all the time about the Bo Burnham. With my favorite, I will show if my grandkids ever ask what COVID was like, I'm going to show them the Bo Burnham Inside Netflix special.
It's the best special ever. I love it.
It's exactly what COVID felt like, and it's like in that line where he's like singing. I forget. Oh, he's singing about being 30, and he's like talking about. It's like, oh, and now the Zoomers think I'm out of touch. Well. When you're 26, you're gonna all your social media is gonna give you a dissociative mental disorder. So you know what? There, he's like, I'm 30. Yeah, but I'm like, I think about that all the time. These kids are fucked. All right,
Everybody should
anyway,
watch
so
that
the
special.
Niners are playing the Bills on Sunday Night Football.
Hold on. You skipped a game.
Oh, did I?
Did we?
Titans
Oh,
Commanders.
Titans Commanders.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have anything to say about that?
The Levis
Will
Renaissance
Levis-
and the Commanders collapse. These are the two teams meeting in opposite directions.
Yeah. What are the percent chances that Will Levis is the key to winning your fantasy league? It's not 0.
There's a non-zero chance.
7?
Yeah.
12.
Who are you start this week? Will Levis or CJ Stroud?
Oh, Levis. I would start Levis. Oh, Stroud. No, the Texans with playing the Jags. I will say this. This is a crazy thing to say. I'm going to say it. If CJ Stroud does not get 14 fantasy points against the Jaguars, I think you can cut him.
He scored 14 against the Cowboys.
I know, but at least the Cowboys, like, they should run, but it's because the Texans ran the ball on Dallas, and Dallas's run D is pathetic. I really don't. If CJ Stroud can't get you 15 points, you're not going to play him. Like, again, this season. Like, you just got him. Like, I'd rather have Will Levis than Stroud if Stroud can't deliver this week. And I don't blame you at all if you want to play Levis over Stroud.
he's an experience. The
You
Will
have
Levis,
to, Levis
the
is
Will
the
Levis
most,
experience is something I want to be a part of every week.
We always joked about this with Trubisky and Blake Bortles. Levis is the spiritual successor to Blake Bortles in the do not watch him play if you have him in your lineup. Like, do not watch the Titans play. Just check what he gets at the end of the game.
There's like a quadrant of like, he's like in the quadrant of like bad entertaining. You know what I mean? There's like bad, boring, bad, entertaining, good, boring, good, entertaining.
Yeah. It's like
Did
a
I do the
gladiator
four
that
right?
you think is going to die.
Right. He's going to at least take out some people with him or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Will Levis being made into art but make it sports like every week, you know, just like the hilariousness, but also like he has like a 98-yard touchdown. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's the whole spectrum.
Yeah, he like might be number one on the like, if I could pick one guy to watch the highlights of each week, it might be Will Levis.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, then Sunday Night Football is the Niners are at the Bills. Man, talk about a game that thought this would be better when they put it on the schedule. Damn. Niners year from hell. I think the Niners
Purdy's
are just the most classic Super
back,
Bowl
though.
hangover.
It looks
I
like
think Purdy's going to be back.
Can be back, so that's fun.
Can we talk about how Shanahan? I think with the acknowledgement that injuries in the NFL are not easy to predict, and like health itself is not necessarily like easy in the NFL. The Niners have been more dishonest on injury reports this year than any team I can ever remember, outside of like the Belichick Patriots. Like
So the Christian McCaffrey thing to start with. What else?
Oh, we almost forget that the McCaffrey thing happened with the 90-minute inactives before Monday Night Football Week 1.
Yeah,
no team, like the injury, no team has gamed injury reports. Like Deebo Samuel's not listed. When you watch Deebo Samuel, do you think he's healthy?
James Harden? No.
James Harden. Deebo Samuel played like 10 snaps a couple weeks ago and then left with pneumonia. Was not listed on the injury.
He went to the hospital. He went to
the hospital with fluid in his lungs. He wasn't on the injury report.
Pneumonia.
Like, I don't know. So anyway, I look at the Niners. So again, maybe Shanahan was correct when Wednesday of last week he said he had no questions about Brock Purdy being able to play the following week. And then Brock Purdy, maybe he did just get worse in that Thursday practice. But nothing about them has earned the benefit of the doubt. And I don't know. I
just looked at the Buffalo weather for Sunday. Snow showers. I don't know how accurate that is, but
vibes are bad with the Niners. I wonder
Bill's
if we
run game could rock the Niners. I'm not going to lie. The Niners, I don't know if Nick Bosa is going to play in this game either, but like the Bills, if it's snowing, the Bills might kind of move that defensive line.
Should we just avoid heading into fantasy seasons every year, all the bad vibes teams? Like, I feel like going into this, like in the offseason and the preseason, it was like the Niners had bad vibes. The Jets, the Cowboys had terrible vibes.
The Bengals had bad vibes, though.
Yeah, the Bengals vibes. Well, I made the Bengals vibes. No, the Bengals were bad vibes because they didn't pay T. Higgins or Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Like
the
Bears
Bengals
with
did
Waldron.
have bad vibes.
Bears with Waldron, we kind of just overlooked that. I guess, yeah, Bengals and Eagles are a counterpoint because the Eagles had bad vibes.
Right.
The Eagles had bad vibes, and the Bears had good vibes, though, because of Caleb.
Yeah, but Waldron, we overlooked Waldron. The Are We Live thing, I think we shouldn't have let that go.
Yeah, it's true. And it's funny that
that will be studied for generations to come.
We ignored it for 2 weeks, but the Chris Olave being like, anything you're excited about? And he was like, no.
Right.
And then they started hot, so we forgot about it. But yeah, we need the, you know what? And for that reason, I'm out. And we just got to trust that.
Yeah. What is it with Ohio State receivers and being like too honest? Just lie.
True.
It's just receivers in general.
Malik Neighbors, honorary Ohio State receiver, Malik Neighbors, for being too honest, where he's just like,
he's like,
God forbid he tells the truth.
I didn't see my first target till we were down 30. What do you want me to do about it?
Dude, you know what? He's right. What the fuck were they doing?
It's a good point.
It's the only good player on the offense. God.
There's nothing more explosive than a really good receiver on a really bad team.
Yeah. It's because they're just NBA players at receiver. All right, Monday Night Football.
Browns, Broncos.
Well, so before I go on, Bills are going to rock the Niners, right? I mean, the Niners, the Bills are favored by 7. When was the last time the Niners were a touchdown underdog?
That's kind of wild, yeah.
That's really the sign of the times. But you know what? The Niners, I mean, again, I know I keep saying this. I really think the Niners are in their Andy Reid Eagles era after the Eagles made those 4 NFC championship games in a row. And then it was like the weird petering out of that Eagles team. And then Andy Reid had to leave. I really think that this is about to be a spiral for the Niners because it is a Kyle Shanahan show. And I think Kyle, like, I don't know if he'll be able to come to grips with what has happened in this. Like, don't forget, this is like, he's still on this run of like lost the 28-3 Super Bowl, went to the Niners, made the 2018 Super Bowl, blew a fourth quarter lead to the Chiefs, and then lost an NFC Championship game to his friend Sean McVay because I forget, was it Jaquiski Tart dropped a pick from Stafford and they lost that game. Then they went to the NFC Championship game versus the Eagles, ran out of quarterbacks in a game that they were up, and then ran out of quarterbacks. Eagles win. Then he goes back to the Super Bowl, loses in overtime to Mahomes. Like, this is an 8-year stretch where he thought he would win a Super Bowl in like 5 of the 8 years. Has none.
So
like
brutal.
It is. He needs to go to Thailand.
You can only take so many L's.
Yes.
He can only hold so many.
I keep thinking about George Kittle saying we have 1,000 scars before they lost this year's Super Bowl.
The Seahawks fell apart like at the seams because they lost one Super Bowl. I can't even imagine what the 49ers have been going
This guy's lost
through.
3 in 8 years. And don't underrate losing a championship game to McVay when the Niners, Shanahan would think that he would have crushed the Bengals. Whether or not you think that, Shanahan definitely thinks that whoever out of the NFC would have beaten Cincinnati. So his friend, it's like probably the worst one. Monday Night Football's Browns at Broncos. Dude, these are the 2 teams who made the 2 worst quarterback trades with the Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, and one of those hired Sean Payton and is okay now, and one of them did not.
I was just looking at the AFC in general, and if the Ravens lose and the Broncos win, they'll have the same record. I just think that's bizarre and unsettling. For some, like, you know what I mean? It's just like halfway through the year, like 3/4 of the way through the year, you look up and you're like, what?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Broncos have gotten very fortunate with their schedule this year.
Yeah, they are 10th in DVOA, 19th on offense, 4th on defense, 6th on test special teams. So this is like a good team. I just think it's just wild because on paper the Ravens are such a better team, but they could have, after this week, they could have the same record.
That's crazy. I mean, again, the Ravens have the most yards per play in NFL history if they stay in their pace. I want to again, everyone's going to talk about Sean Payton being a coach, and I will eventually give Bo Nix his flowers as soon as I mentally can reconcile. I would really like to give, though, credit to Vance. I know I've said this last week. Vance Joseph, I don't know if there's any other NFL head coach that would have gone back to the team that they were head coach of and taken a coordinator job. Like, it is just it took humility to do that. And now the Broncos have maybe the best defense in the entire league. And
by the way,
Vance
I was reminded that Wade Phillips also did that.
Yeah.
Wade
Phillips. Was he? Wait. Oh, yeah. Wait, he went back to which team? The Rams?
I thought it was the Broncos. Hold on.
Was he the head coach of the Broncos?
He was the Broncos head coach from 93 to 94. And then he went back
the Broncos
and was the
people to do
defensive
this?
coordinator in 2015. So there was a really long break.
I was going to say, he got 20 years. Vince Joseph got 4.
Right. But it's not, I guess my point was it has been done before.
That's true. That's fair.
I'm sure it's
but
been
yeah,
done
I want to shout out
probably.
Vince Joseph because like he took a bunch of spare parts and like free agent signings from like different eras of this Broncos team and like just made it work. And like, I don't know, it's very impressive to me. And like a lot of these signings that frankly I thought were really mistakes by Sean Payton worked out, like Zach Allen. A lot of these guys are playing really. Nick Benito, who I wasn't sure if he was going to work out as a player. The defense has been outrageous. So kudos to them. If you have the Broncos in fantasy and you're playing Jameis Winston on Monday Night Football, where Jameis has like the snow game confidence, I think this could be a generational defensive performance in fantasy from Denver. Like Jameis Winston's going to come out and have the most Jameis Winston game of all time.
Do you think Jameis is going to get a starting job after this?
No.
Craig's confident. All right.
He will never be the starting quarterback. Not never, but like I would be shocked if Jameis was the starting quarterback for a defensive head coach, because all the defensive head coaches care about is like not turning the ball over. Like there's a reason James played for like Bruce Arians. You know what I mean?
No risk,
with,
no
like,
biscuit,
Tampa Bay.
baby. Yeah.
And he was like a backup on the Saints. I would be shocked if a defensive oriented head coach was like, I want Jameis Winston, the 30 pick guy. You know what I mean?
No, he's like, we know what Jameis is now. He's 31 years old. Like Jameis is like a strong backup who can come in and get hot and win you games.
Kind of like a Flacco.
Yeah.
Younger Flacco.
Younger Flacco. He's not late stage Flacco.
Dude, Jameis is pushing the ball so deep downfield. I think Steve Palazzolo at 33rd team, the Jets search for him, 33rd team. Steve Palazzolo tweeted that the league-wide yards per attempt without Jameis Winston is like 8, and the league-wide yards per attempt with Jameis Winston is 8.5.
He's just having fun out there.
When you're including 40 quarterbacks in that is like impossible for one person to move it by half a yard. That is how much Jameis Winston's pushing the ball downfield.
Heifetz, if the Giants signed Winston in the offseason, would you be happy or sad?
I mean, I'd rather give Jameis Winston $12 million than like fucking Drew Lock $5 million to be the third string quarterback. Holy shit.
I agree.
I don't mind signing Jameis.
I think the Broncos, like if I had to choose right now, I think the Giants should not take a quarterback and they should just take like the best player available in the draft and then sign like a guy like Jameis.
There's nothing wrong signing Jameis because you want to keep your options open. Like you want to sign Jameis and then like if you're able to get a quarterback, you can, but you don't want to like have to get a quarterback, especially in this draft. It's one thing to have to get a quarterback last year when there's 5 or 6. Like you don't want to have to get a quarterback in the draft where there's 1.5 to 3. Like that's not a good plan.
Trying to figure out whether teams even need a quarterback at this point.
I mean, Giants, Raiders, Titans, Panthers might be out if Bryce Young keeps playing well. Panthers probably are good.
Yeah.
If Bryce keeps playing, which is crazy.
It's not as many teams as you think, though, I guess, is my point.
Lines up nicely with this draft, then.
Yeah.
Yep. Just the Giants and Raiders and Titans and, whatever.
Titans might stick with Levis. He's got a chance here.
That's I do not believe in Will Levis.
It's probably not going to happen, but I don't know.
Will Levis is honestly going to be the next Jameis. He's going to bounce around, be a frisky backup, come in. People are going to say, should Will Levis be starting on a team?
Yeah,
but instead of 30 picks and 30 touchdowns in a season, it's just 30 memes and 30 turnovers.
Ha.
All right, let's get out of here. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Kai, for producing this episode. Thank you, Austin, for once again doing more. Thank you for listening. Again, Thanksgiving weekend. If you're driving somewhere or whatever you're doing.
Happy Black Friday.
Happy Black Friday. And remember, Black Friday, if Thanksgiving's for your family, love, gratitude, Black Friday is to stare into the bleeding jaws of capitalism and say, yes, Zaddy, more. And so buy something. That's what Black Friday is about. Buy something, your family time's over. It's a Rick and Morty joke, but you guys, it's okay.
People have been saying that my Brady impression sounds like Rick from Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, I think they're saying it sounds like Morty. No, it sounds
Morty?
like Morty, and it does. Brady sounds like Morty.
Morty's the kid, right?
Morty's the kid. He's like, Rick.
Rick.
No,
Morty.
it is like Morty was announcing an NFL game. Like, Rick, George Kittle, Rick, he's rumbling down the field. I think someone should tackle him, Rick.
Great call, KB.
Rick and Morty's my favorite thing that you guys don't like at all.
I know.
Is that right? I feel like there's a lot of things you love that we don't care about.
Craig, that was really mean.
No, not that way. Just like different interests.
Craig, don't bully Heifetz.
The different DK's a middle child, and Craig and I are younger kids because DK thinks that's my bar for bullying.
Is it bad that I genuinely didn't see that statement as like rude in any way?
No, it's because you, like me, have a brother who's 3.5 years older than you. So that bounces right off. That doesn't even register.
I didn't think it was bullying. I was exaggerating.
Yeah, see, you're the middle child pitting two people against one another.
Yeah, exactly. That's
pretend to be the peacemaker, but really behind the scenes,
sowing dissent.
Yeah.
Heifetz, did you go apple picking today?
We went to an orchard and we got to get apples for not a cobbler. Why am I?
So no, he didn't go apple picking, but he went to an orchard.
Apple crisp. Well, no, we showed up. The apples were picked. They were in little baskets, bushels, if you will.
Mm.
That's nice. You're making an apple crisp.
I make the Jello mold. We have an old school Jello mold that I make.
You make Jello?
Like a Jello mold-esque thing. It's like a strawberry raspberry. It's like an old school thing from the 70s.
Do you ever put anything in Jello? Like Jim from The Office?
Stapler?
No, I should though. Maybe I should. Yeah.
That should be a new tradition.
Jello might be the most like old-timey dessert.
It is. It's like
alive.
It replaces our cranberry sauce.
I don't like
really
Jello.
Good.
I kind of can't believe Jello's still around, to be honest.
Yeah.
It feels like a 1960s like astronaut food that they just kept around.
Yeah,
totally. It's like Jello and Tang.
Yeah. Dude, there's some email us what your weird like grandparents' recipes are that they still make for you at Thanksgiving or Christmas. There's one in my in-laws family where they make this It's like a pineapple, marshmallow, and rice dish.
Pineapple. A weird part of the human brain is
Thanksgiving.
you can actually like test combination things in your brain and kind of taste it. You said pineapple, marshmallow, to rice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a hard time picturing Heifetz making a Jello.
Texturally. Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm kind of
Why?
imagining him
That's closer to the line.
shirtless like Bono with an apron on.
Gotta leave room.
I just think you're just too scatterbrained to be to be baking anything. I
Yeah.
don't even know how do you make a
You
fucking
should
Jello.
see
I don't-
the recipe. I had to like fax 3 different. I did like
Heifetz following
Heifetz
precise
starts-
baking instructions.
Yeah. Heifetz will start making a Jello and end up God knows where, like down the block, hanging out at a block party. I don't feel like you could start and finish a Jello.
I'm like, why are all
Especially
these
when you're-
apples in this Jello?
Especially when you're naked wearing nothing but an apron.
I know. That is a great thing. You're right. Apron only cooking is a lifestyle. Do you sleep in an apron?
By the way, how do you make a Jello? I don't know what Jello. How do you make Jello? Isn't it like
It's
very
mostly
easy?
water and sugar. It's
Just
the
like
main
put it in the
gist.
fridge.
Water, sugar.
I'm
Freon.
becoming a pretty like serious baker. I'm really enjoying baking.
Oh yeah, you sent us 2 banana breads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point in baking where I bought a scale and I'm no longer, if it says like a cup of flour, like I don't just put flour into a cup size measuring cup. I like actually weigh it to get 200
What?
grams exactly.
You
Yeah.
psychopath.
Not
wait,
a fucking
why?
peasant who just puts
Because
it in a cup.
baking is literally science. A cup of flour can vary differently depending on how you pack it. So I don't know why. It's like, it's actually very easy to just get a scale, put the cup, zero it out, weigh it out, and put it in. I weigh everything now.
What do you
And-
make?
Dude, I make everything. I make a really good homemade pumpkin pie, and I make the crust. I make scones, cookies, banana breads. I'm making an olive oil cake for Thanksgiving this year.
Olive oil cake.
Wow,
Very
an
good olive oil
What's
cake.
that? I don't know.
So
what that
good.
is.
It's basically a cake where you use olive oil instead of butter.
And then what do you
And
put
that
on
might
top?
sound not great, but it actually is moist for like a week, and it gets better with time. It's very good.
What are we talking here? Like a chocolate cake or like a
No,
vanilla cake?
so it's just like an olive oil kind of like citrus zesty cake. And then I top it with a lemon orange glaze with some crushed pistachios.
You're glazing that thing.
I'm
Okay.
glazing that cake.
Oh, we're gonna. That's the joke we made
Glazing
instead of
that cake.
moist for a week.
Gets better with age.
Let
Yeah.
that one go.
Like a fine wine.
And I will cook that in the nude.
Okay.
I won't. Don't worry. We need to include the bit at the top of the pod that before we started about how we sleep. We had a conversation about sleeping in the nude and sleeping with a king versus queen bed.
Do you watch the Great British Baking Show?
I haven't seen the new season, but yes, I've watched every one.
How have we never discussed the British Baking Show?
We have.
Dude,
Like
I'm
many
pretty
times.
sure. I can't confirm this, but you know the guy who used to be the one of the two, not the judges, but one of the two hosts. It was his Noel and Matt.
Noel
right?
and Matt, and now it's Noel and oh, I forgot her
No,
name.
what-
But
the
she's
woman.
revitalized the show.
Matt, I'm pretty sure is in Gladiator 2 in a significant role.
Get the fuck
He's-
out.
He's wearing a lot of makeup, but I think it's him. He's an actor, right?
Is it the bald guy? The
Yes,
guy who
the
has no
bald guy.
hair on anywhere?
I mean,
in
it'd be
his
very
body?
easy
He-
to look this up.
He plays like
He's
in
in-
Gladiator.
he's
He's like
in-
the announcer at the Roman Coliseum who like introduces the people fighting.
Welcome to the Great Gladiator Fighting Show.
Yes.
Like,
He's
hope I'm
also
not wrong, but I
in.
think it's him.
He was in something with like Rebel Wilson.
Yes.
was
I
it-
think Rebel Wilson is the most famous person that I don't know who they are or what they look like or anything about them.
Have you seen Pitch Perfect?
Oh, well,
Is that
Bridesmaids.
her?
Was it? Were
Yeah.
they in? Was that guy in Bridesmaids? I'm pretty sure he
Uh,
was. He was the roommate
Rebel
of Rebel
Wilson.
Wilson. What's his name? Matt Lucas.
I don't know. Matt
Yeah,
something.
he's
Matt
that's him.
Lucas, that's it. Oh, this is Rebel Wilson. Oh.
Wait, his
Okay.
name is Matt what? Wilson?
Lucas. Matt Lucas.
Oh, Matt Lucas. Is he in Gladiator 2? I hope I'm not wrong. Dude, it looked like him. Yes, he is. Fuck yeah.
Wow, what a call. What a snipe. What a snipe. That's really impressive.
He was also in Wonka.
Ridley Scott definitely never seen Great British Bake Off and was like, sure, this guy can be in my movie.
Dude, he kind of looks like one of the nice Harkonnens from Dune.
Totally.
Can you do a worm? Do the worm on TikTok talking about Matt Lucas and Gladiator.
I can only do Trump. I can only do Trump talking about Muad'Dib,
nasty? What is it?
the Bene
What's-
Gesserit, nasty women trying to wage a holy war. They call him Pesky Paul. They call him Lisan Al-Gaib.
Muad'Dib.
All right, wait. Let's play. Let's actually play. Yeah, let's play that conversation we had at the beginning about sleeping. Great. Love the energy to start the show.
I didn't sleep well last night. I don't know why.
Dude, I haven't been sleeping well either.
Since we've been back in her parents' house, we're sleeping. We went from a king bed back to a queen, and it is affecting us.
Yeah, that sucks.
Do you ever like elbow your partners in the middle of the night?
Not really.
Dude, I like levitate when I'm sleeping. When I'm like flipping over, I literally like do the thing where I like jump flip. Like
yeah, no, I do too.
And I like Skippy sleeps like a fucking log though, so it's like all good. But I like literally will like jump from one side to another.
I do. Wait, are you guys recording?
I don't roll over. I jump.
You're like a fish out of water.
No, I do the same thing.
100%.
Dude, do you guys like tuck your sheets in? Because when I get into bed,
those people are psychos.
Oh, yeah, I need freedom. I'm like,
dude, I don't even have
get the sheet out of here.
No top sheet.
I agree.
Dude, Jackie loves a top sheet, and first
men don't like the top sheet.
No, it's
I don't know why,
but
men don't like the top sheet. Women do. I can't explain it.
Ugh.
Because they're more
awful.
cleanly than us, I think.
Or maybe women want to feel safe and secure. The top sheet tucked in. Men are just like,
men need to be free.
I want to be free.
I feel like I'm wearing like foot binders in the fucking.
Yeah, it is the sleep version of going commando. No top sheet.
yeah. But also, I don't really like sleeping naked. To be
Me neither. That's weird.
It just feels weird.
Yeah, everything's flopping around. I feel like hairs are kind of
too much flop.
Loose.
Everything's flopping.
Too much flop.
That's 100% true.
Too much flop. Like if there's any sweat, that's kind of like the epicenter.
It's like
sweat.
a flop shot in golf. It sounds like a good idea, but you end up with like a weird lie, and it's a mess.
Yeah, sleeping naked is one of those things that's like sounds better than it actually is.
Minor red flag whenever I hear that.
When people
I have a buddy who sleeps naked. I'm like, put some underwear on.
Judge them a little.
Liz and I are tall, dude. A queen bed, it's tight.
You guys are tall. You're a tall couple.
Oh yeah, queen beds are a little, Skippy and I have a king bed now, and I'm like, I'll never go back to
the difference between a queen and a king. It sounds close, but it's like the difference between 1,000,000 seconds and 1,000,000,000 seconds. It's like 2.5 weeks for
it's like
20
one letter.
years.
How much could it be?
Yeah, it's like, dude, a king bed. I can't even.
It's
reach
like twice
Liz
as
in a
wide.
king bed.
It's true.
Sometimes I don't even know if she's there. I'm like, did she get up to go to the bathroom? I don't even know.
Dude,
I can't
seriously.
see that far.
Let's get out of here now. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Kai, for producing this episode. Did I do this already?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Kai, for producing this episode. Thank you, Austin, for doing more. I didn't say this.
No. Oh.
No, I don't think so.
Wait, now
DK wasn't paying attention. I said
I feel like you said the Austin
No
thing.
one thanked Lorne.
No, but I
but
remember you
I was
thanking
thanking
Austin.
people, and then this entire tangent we just had was between me thanking people and thanking Lord.
How did we get here?
I don't know.
How did we get here?
Because I think
that's a question I ask myself a lot.
I think I said when you said
10 minutes between the thank you and the.
You were thanking people, and I said enjoy Black Friday. And then I think we were off.
Right. You said enjoy Black Friday.
And then Heifetz went on like a capitalist rant, and then
I said Rick and Morty, and then you were like, you said there's a lot of things you don't like that we don't like that you like, and then we went in that, and then your brother, and then you went in baking, and then right. That's how it happened. Anyway, thank you, Lord.
Thank you, the XX. I'm like ashamed. I don't actually know if that's how you say it. Is it like the double X or anything weird like that, or is it just the XX?
I don't know, but I know who you're talking about.
I don't.
I'm
on a real cold
Heifetz,
streak.
you would recognize this.
Yeah,
oh my
this song's
God.
dope.
That should be on the playlist. We should put that on the 1 second song playlist. I don't know what the name of that song is, but wow.
It's called Intro.
I definitely thought that was an Earl Grimes song.
I've been wanting to thank that band because I really like that song, but I just literally was too afraid I was going to fuck up how you say it. I don't know how to say the name.
No offense to XX, but is that like the worst possible name you could have given that very iconic sounding song? Intro.
Intro.
They
Doesn't
probably could have
matter.
done better.
The name of the song doesn't matter.
But there's like 100. There's probably like 10,000 songs on Spotify named Intro.
DK, I believe your beloved Blue Scholars sampled that song for one of their songs.
Oh, did they?
Yes, Lumiere, I think.
I just added that to the 1 second song playlist, which is prime drinking game territory we're in right now on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, with family. There you go. Are you guys going to do the thing on, is it still a thing when you're 30 years old where you like, everyone's home for Thanksgiving and you guys all go meet up for drinks on like Wednesday
I think I'm
night?
retired. I did it last year, and I think I kind of looked around.
It's like back in the day, that's like when you like hook up with your ex-girlfriends and stuff before Thanksgiving. And
Jesus.
No? You guys didn't do that? People, the ghosts know what's up.
You know what they say about the ghosts know. You know what they say about when retired athletes, when they're like, when you know. I was there last year and I was looking around the bar and I was like, yeah, this is it for me. And Jack and I Irish goodbye and went to McDonald's and never going back. Goodbye, everyone.